very good. And just like that, it's Friday. Yes. I've managed to completely...
Is it Friday? Oh, sorry, I forgot how this thing works. It's been so long. Hello.
It is Friday. And welcome to the man of mystery, the man who makes the cravat fashionable, Mr. Phil Dave.
Well, he makes a cravat fashionable if he was wearing one.
Sorry, you're not wearing one today?
No, I'm cravatless today.
Oh,
sorry.
No, cravatless in Gaza.
I know.
It was eyeless in Gaza, wasn't it? How prescient.
Well.
How very prescient that was. Anyway, welcome one and all to the Friday show. My misunderstanding, because I have been under the weather for now 2 weeks, I thought Chantal was not joining us. Chantal is joining us. Although she did have a blonde moment and said, "Where's the link?" So I sent the link. She said, "Oh, if you don't want me, let me know." I said, "No, I do want you. Absolutely. Very much wanted." "Oh, could you send the link?" I said, "I just sent the link." Blondes. That's what I've got to say on the subject. Anyway, how are you, Phil Dave?
Yeah, I'm in reasonable fettle. Thank you very much indeed. You may see from my backdrop, I'm not in my usual place today.
No.
I normally disappear off into the work environment.
Yes.
Yes. But today I find myself in the home environment, the family home environment.
Family home, yes. The estate. The estate.
Well,
in Hertfordshire.
Absolutely, yes. In Dave Manor. But yeah, absolutely. So, but my father has gone off on holiday with my sister and brother-in-law and my two nephews. My mother
he's dumped your mother. Basically, he's dumped your mother.
Yeah, no, he was determined to go and have a good time. So
I don't blame him.
Ray. He's abandoned my mother. And I thought, well, do you know what? I'm not going to abandon her so callously. And I've decided to move back home for about 10 days just to help my mom. So there you go.
Oh my God, I didn't realize that. I thought you'd be shuttling between your new estate and your old estate.
I love the way you say new estate. You know, the new estate is nearly 2 years already.
Kidding me. Wow, where's the time gone?
August.
So you've moved in. Let's just unpack this for a little bit and show the wonderful, big-hearted boy that you are. You've given up your home. Where's the cat?
Oh, the cat is with me. He's here.
And how's Monty getting on with the cat?
They're sort of not. They're having to be kept a bit separate at the moment.
Like you and your mother, really.
Well, yeah.
Now, how is she?
Can be a bit trying.
Now, I don't want to make this all about Swiss Family Dave, but right, how is your mum? Because she's been far from well for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I want to know if she's okay.
Thank you. Yeah, she's not too bad. I would suggest that she has. How can I put it? She's had ups and downs, but is not too bad at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, this is good. Well, what she does not want is what I've had and still have, this wretched, stinking, lousy vibe. You can hear it's still not right. I had to have a meeting yesterday. I've cancelled everything for 2 weeks. This will be 2 solid weeks, 14 days of just feeling ugh. And it's an amazing virus because every day you wake up and every day it's something else. It's never the same thing. It's quite extraordinary.
In what way, though? So, how does it make you feel?
I'll tell you exactly, but because
let's unpick this further, shall we?
Yes, we shall. A load of people are going down exactly the same thing. My lovely friend, the medium, Katie Keeley, and so many other people are feeling like it as well. If you know Katie, send her my love, please. Now, it starts off, you just feel completely under the weather. Then you get the most pounding headaches. Then you think your stomach's going to explode and like aliens going to burst out of it, right? Then you can't stop sneezing, you can't stop coughing. It's like, and then you wake up and you think, all right, the headache's gone. That's great. No, my stomach's killing me. Then the next day you wake up and go, I'm completely exhausted. So yesterday there was a meeting. I had to take this meeting and I have cancelled everything. And I owe so many people so many apologies. And I'm really sorry, but I
think you should be. How dare you not be well? What's wrong with you?
I know. Well, you know what I'm like. You've known me for many, many years. You know, I don't like it. I have to be on top
do you know what? He puts on this facade. He comes out with this. I don't like letting people down. The truth is, no, I'm sorry. I don't know you to cancel things lightly. Let's put
tonight. I don't. I mean, tonight is the lovely Liz Brewer big birthday bash, which I've just had to write to her. I said, I'm sorry. I had to take this meeting yesterday with my literary agent. Absolutely had to take it because it is impossible to get hold of. And we've been planning it. We had to postpone it because I was too ill the previous week. And I made it into town. And I just thought, I don't think I'm going to get through the meeting. I'm not like that. I'm usually bound up the stairs at the tube station and everything. And I thought my heart was going to come through my chest. That's the other thing. You're not having a heart attack. It's another thing the virus does. So if you've got any of these symptoms, that's what it is. You're not having a heart attack. You haven't got aliens in your stomach. You haven't got a migraine.
That's very reassuring, because I don't think anyone wants that. It didn't work so well for Sigourney Weaver or whatever it was.
No. Although Sigourney Weaver wants to pop round, see how I'm doing.
Rub some Vicks in your chest.
She could rub Vic in my chest if she so wants. Now, I want to say, in all seriousness, congratulations to you.
Really?
And you're going to go, ooh, what for? Ooh, what for?
I will say what for, because I don't know what you mean.
Because I've been watching your clips on another radio. Or two things, actually, I want to congratulate you for. You're a very brave fellow. People know I say that a lot, but you are. You don't care. You don't back down. And that's what you do. You put up on your social media an amazing video, which I was very proud to see. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go. I can't take it. But bravo you. And lots of my friends messaged me and said, oh, that was lovely of Phil to do that. So that was nice. That's the first thing. And the second thing, and this sounds, look, I've known you forever. This sounds horribly patronizing, and I don't mean it to be patronizing in the least. But I've
patronizing you never.
Now, Sonny, just listen. What I was going to say is this. I've watched you grow from the kid that I met.
I'm still waiting to grow. What are you talking about?
Well, there is that. All right. From the kid that the enthusiastic kid with the crazy hair to the man you are now. But I've watched you grow in stature so much as a broadcaster, and in your serious work, when you do the big boy pants job during the week, I watch some of those shows, and they get better and better and better. They really do. And
thank you.
I've always thought that, and anybody who knows anything about me at all knows, and I think it's a good part of human nature, that people you like or people you're very fond of, or your friends, and certainly your family whom you love, you revel in them doing well. You revel in watching them grow and succeed and everything like that. And it's been a joy. It's been great. I sit there going, that's Phil. And I enjoy that. It's been great.
Well, I do appreciate it. I
mean it. I mean it.
No, but I mean it as well. I do appreciate it, because I don't take for granted that what it means when people do say that they're happy for me or that they like what I do or anything like that. Because the truth is, I think it is so unbelievably undignified to praise oneself. And if someone, no, it is. It's just horrendous.
Well,
the number of people who do it,
they do.
It's ghastly.
Yeah,
but
if
someone is nice enough to do that, yeah, but if someone's nice enough to do that, then I just don't take it lying down. I just think it's a very nice thing to do, and I'm very grateful. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. I did a podcast. My daughter said, please, you can come to the studio. It's around the corner. I said, oh, geez. But it's my daughter. So I literally dragged myself there and sat in this little studio, which is, thank God, was only 10 minutes away. And it's on her podcast, the Self-Care Club. I've never been on it before. It was her and her podcast partner, Nicole Goodman. Jesus Christ. Nicole Goodman. And they wanted to do a special Father's Day.
I had no idea that
Nicole
Lauren had gone up in the world so much.
Lauren and Nicole Kidman joined at the hip and always shopping in M&S. And we were talking about it. And jealousy is a horrible thing. I think jealousy is just revolting. I'm many things, but I've never been jealous. And we were talking about it, and I told the story on the podcast which they recorded, which I think is coming out the day after Father's Day or something. That with Lauren doing so well with the #1 podcast in her field in the UK, was it the world? One of the two, UK, in the Apple charts and
Well, what's the
Spotify.
difference? The country,
Anyway, whatever it is, I
planet,
don't care.
whatever.
I don't care. And somebody said, "Oh, you must be jealous." Somebody on social media said, "Oh, how do you feel about it? You must be jealous." And I thought, "Oh my God, that says so much more about you than it does about me." I can't imagine any parent being jealous of their children. One of the joys of being
But I certainly
one of
couldn't
the
imagine you being jealous of your
no
child.
one of
But at the
but what,
same time,
no.
I would say you'd be amazed at the number of parents who do behave like that. And certainly not talking from personal experience, just
No.
people who are friends of mine who they sort of say they go through this battle with their parents based on that they don't seem to be happy for their child. And I just think that's bizarre.
It's very, very odd. There are few joys about getting older, trust me. And this stupid virus, if I was in my 40s, I could have bounced back quicker, but I sure ain't. And it takes a hell of a much longer than it. It's very frustrating. But one of the few joys about getting older is watching your kids do well and grow up and be happy. And you think, well, my work is done. I'm especially feeling that today because it's the please don't say their names. It's the twins' birthday. They're 26 today. I don't know where 26 years have gone, but it's been a privilege. It's a joy. It's a pleasure. You just want people, you want people that you love to succeed. And it's interesting. You've just supported what I feel that many parents don't feel like that. How bizarre.
No, I don't. I'm not so sure. I understand it. Look, I'm obviously speaking as someone who's not a parent, so I wouldn't.
But
be able
you
to
have
fully
parents who've done
appreciate.
nothing but encourage you.
Yeah, but then just because it's the way they behave, I don't know if that's the way I would. I hope that I wouldn't behave in such a way, but who knows? But yeah, some people are very strange, and there's nothing. I don't ever think there's really ever sort of anything that justifies the way that some people behave. But it's I have to say, actually, just to not wishing to change the subject altogether.
Change the subject.
Well, in that case, all right, wishing to change the subject altogether. That there was there's a little application I use that checks the it's quite it's a really rather not a good app to use, I think, because it's quite dangerous. But in the sense that it's an application that monitors who has maintained friendship on social media and who has lost. But I do it mainly.
What is this? Slow it down. Sorry.
It's an application that monitors who stays following or friends with you on social media,
right,
and who's removed you or anything like that. Ooh. It's just a good way of actually gauging, sort of whether or not the content you're working with is engaging or whether or not it's if you need to change it up a bit. Okay. And what's really interesting is in the last couple of weeks alone, I have lost 3 people who I used to be colleagues with at the BBC, and I would hedge my bets it's based on what I put in the Middle East.
Of course it is. You know it.
So, and bearing in mind, it's 5 years, right, since I left, actually over 5 years since I left the BBC. Why is it this week that those 3 have gone?
Because it's the BBC, because they're not to be trusted when it comes to their news, because the BBC should be defunded. The sooner it happens, the better. And it should be defunded. You can't trust their news. Their news broadcasting is disgraceful. And they do some magnificent programming. I understand that. But I've felt for years it should be defunded and stand on its own 2 feet. And it should give the people the opportunity to say, no, I don't want to subscribe to your news channel. Yes, I'd like to subscribe to your sports channel, let's say. Yes, I'd like your drama channel. They could do it. They could easily do it. Every other commercial broadcaster does it. You could do it. But they have carte blanche to just spout propaganda, which is just shocking. Absolutely shocking. Shocking.
Well, some do. I think it's important not to tarnish a whole station or a whole corporation with it. But at the same time, you'd be forgiven for thinking that there is quite a large number of people who happen to work for said organization that clearly don't know what the term unbiased means.
Well, birds of a feather flock together. That's why they're there. That's why they flourish, and that's why their figures are going down the toilet. And it's true. And in America, it's a little tiny show that I started to watch called Gutfeld, hosted by a guy who was a magazine editor, as it happens, called Greg Gutfeld, who I've got a lot of time for. Little tiny show, budget of about 3 and 6. Looks like it had the same budget as we do on the Midday show. Nothing, right? And it's grown and grown and grown.
Good Lord.
And it is now, this little show is now the biggest late night show in America, beating Jimmy Fallon, beating the ghastly Jimmy Kimmel.
Well,
if Jimmy Kimmel could be any more of a brown noser, I don't know what. I absolutely can't stand the guy. It's a matter he could talk. He's so woke now. And
I don't know why I always think, whenever I hear that, I always think of Kimmel Fix It.
Ooh! Oh, God. Ow. He had Kamala Harris, the laughing hyena, on this week. God damn.
I don't often do this, but you need to trust me. I need to drop out for a second. I will be back with you in just a tick.
It's your mum. But we never heard from him again. My name's Edgar Lusgarden. These are the tales from Scotland Yard. Young Phil Dave set off on an ordinary day. The sun was shining. It seemed quite normal. But yet, it wasn't. The mystery of Phil Dave and his disappearance has haunted Scotland Yard for decades. Now, for the first time, we take a look at Phil Dave. Where are you? Anybody remember that? Tales of Scotland Yard with Edgar Lusgarden. I was about 2. One of the joys, why I've always been obsessed with sort of television stuff, is being an only child. It was only me. And I was just left to my own devices, and I was just stuck in front of a TV. Parenting 101, right? Parenting. And I was just stuck in front of a TV. So the TV and the radio became my friend. And, I've always had this kind of close feeling with it. Now I've just given up. Okay, something that's got grinding my gears, to quote Peter Griffin. I try to keep politics out of it. I really do. Tommy Robinson. You can like him, you can loathe him. Let's just park that for a minute. Please, just park it for a minute. And last Saturday, there was a march. Of course, I remember Andy Pandy and Luby Lou. Oh, speaking of Luby Lou, Lulu Maradine lost her father this week. He was a very, very nice man called Harvey, a charming, elegant, hospitable, very, very nice guy. So my deepest condolences to the Maradine family, to Anne, who is now Harvey's widow. Can't believe I'm saying that. And to Lulu and to her brothers as well. Life goes on. Anyway, this March, I watched it all on live, all right, on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Completely peaceful. 10,000 people. No trouble. No fighting. No chance for death. No chance for beheading people or imposing anything. Nothing. Just 10,000 ordinary Brits saying, kind of had enough of this. All right. And I watched it with great interest, live from the front, not following the media coverage, following the actual footage from cameras and everything at the march. So I didn't want it through the lens of the BBC. And of course, the chief of police, the commissioner of police, Sir Mark Rowley, how does he describe the march? Far right. Far right. We're lost. Guys, we're lost. It wasn't far right. They weren't a bunch of Nazis. They weren't football. And the other thing they said, 10,000 football hooligans. What, the women? The children? The people minding their own business, going along with a good atmosphere? That's football hooligans? No, they weren't. If they were, I would have said so. How can you have any faith at all, when the guy who's meant to be protecting you is so biased, and describes it as a far-right march? And what have they described the marches that have taken over central London every bloody weekend since October the 7th. How do they describe them? Oh, peace marches. They're not. They're not. They're hate marches. But 10,000 people say, you know what? Just had enough of this. Want to get the city back. And just show we've had enough of it. Boom. It's a far-right march, eh? It's not. Stop lying. Stop lying. Shocking. Anyway, there we go. Chrissy Richards. My daughter Sue is going to do the 3 Peaks Challenge on 27th of July. Oh, that's when Tommy Robinson's next march is. To get funds for my great-grandson. Bless you. Special Steps Nursery. He's autistic. Bless him. 3 Peaks Challenge. I can't even make it down to Lidl at the moment. It's Ben Nevis, Scarfell Pike, and Snowdon. I'm proud. You're proud. I'm exhausted just reading that. I'm just reading. You're going to do the 3 Peaks. Well, bless Special Steps Nursery. Chrissy, keep us posted. If she wants to come on, be nice. Let's dash up to Scotland, shall we? Greetings, one and all, from Dave Sleep. Nice. Well done. He came on the show with Neil Long and myself, and that was that was nice. People saying to me, I get a lot of messages. When's the next book out? When's the next book? The book was written. This is a little insight, right? The book was written and delivered in December, nearly 6 months ago, right? To my agent. And we're going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. We're kind of getting there. I suspect another 3 months of work on the book, because you always want it to be the best you can be. You want it to be the best. And as irritating as it is to have your work picked to pieces, you think to yourself, this guy has my best interests at heart. This is what we want. We want the best. It takes time. So it will be coming. Now, excitement, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Edgar Lustgarten with my special guest, Phil Dave.
Hello, do apologise. It is.
Right. How was Rupert? Was he all right?
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary. When some people get on text and describe something as urgent. Naturally, you're forgiven for thinking it's urgent.
But it's urgent.
I confess that I was slightly surprised that what I had to deal with just now couldn't wait until 1 o'clock, but never mind, it doesn't matter.
Well, it couldn't. Your mum wants to know, is it brown bread or white bread?
What are we having for dinner?
Is there cheese? I thought I heard Monty barking.
Any odd way. Sorry about that. Right, there we go.
Anywho, now. Right, interesting. Elizabeth Green said, it's a little game we can play. Do you remember Andy Pandy? Yes, I do. What is your first?
I don't remember it.
No, you won't. You're way too young. What is the earliest memory of a television show that you have? Earliest memory.
For me?
Earliest memory. What is yours?
Earliest
probably Strictly Come Dancing or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like it was Big Brother. No, I'm joking. It was... So did I name something that made me sound younger than I am?
Yeah.
No, do you know, I think the first... I know this is going to sound really random, but I actually think my very first memory of television was probably the South Bank show.
Are you kidding me?
No, I tell you why. Because I loved the music.
With that professional bore... What was his name?
Melvin Bragg.
Oh, Melvin Bragg.
It's not that. Don't get me wrong. I never liked the show, per se.
I'm with your mum. Muffin the Mule. Here comes Muffin the Mule. Good old Muffin the Mule. All right, okay. Magic Roundabout.
Robert Van Buren. Yeah. Fantastic. The Magic Roundabout.
Yeah.
Time for bed.
Time for bed, said Zebedee.
Anyway.
Where you go? Oh, you're back. Okay. No. Magic Roundabout. Yeah, like that. Okay.
But no, I was going to say, the reason why I think one of my earliest memories is the South Bank show, because I love the theme tune. I still do. I think it's a fantastic...
I had the misfortune to meet Melvin Bragg once. Moving on. Dave Sleet. Well, his daughter and my daughter were in a school play together. This is so they were doing Guys and Dolls. All right.
Who was the guy who was the doll?
Oh, who knows? I can't remember the way I feel. I can't remember anything at the moment. I my head's just gone like a pizza. Anyway,
could you imagine you wouldn't be allowed to have that show in this day and age? I know they've recreated it recently.
they've done it in the bridge.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I know I've already seen it. It's terrific. But no, I was going to say you wouldn't be allowed to have it if they tried to make that from scratch now. They wouldn't be allowed to do it. It would just have to be called People and People.
It would have to be non-binary.
You couldn't misgender somebody.
What a load of crap. Anyway, listen, I'm not going to get into that because it'll put me in a hugely bad mood. So
you can maybe call it non-binary and persons of fluidity.
Yeah. When is that shit going to stop, by the way, is my key question for
My
Friday.
guess would be when the world turns nuclear, then they'll probably realise there's slightly more important things to worry about.
I put it right up there with Queers for Palestine. That's my particular favourite.
Or my personal favourite is Turkeys for Christmas.
That's the one. Or chickens voting. Chickens who love
Colonel
Sanders. They love Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, the chickens who apply for a job at KFC.
Yeah, that's dumbasses. Absolute dumbasses. Anyway, Sodom. Let them go. Let them find out. Not my problem. Anyway,
I think they should. I'd happily have a whip round and
they
send
should
them over.
Yeah, I think we should just go fund them and go piss off.
I actually find it curious. They must know this, though, because have you ever heard anyone from Queers from Palestine saying they're going to start a delegation to go and help the people in Gaza?
Funny that.
They've never done that. I wonder why.
No, and gay. Interesting, of course. Israel's the only place that has gay pride in the Middle East. The only country.
Oh, that doesn't mean a thing.
No, it doesn't. It's
they're still deeply offensive. That country, apparently.
It they are as sick as shit. That's all I've got to say now. Right, here we go. Elizabeth Green. We listen Billy Cotton Band Show. Yes, wakey wakey, da 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 da.
Sounds Breezy.
It was all that Billy Cotton Band Show. What have we got? We got Chris Richards. Mine was "What's My Line."
Good Lord!
Wow, "What's My Line" with. Don't rush me. Hang on.
I won't rush
Gilbert
you.
Hard. Now, this I was too young for this, but I think my parents watched it. It was Gilbert Harding, who was in those days, he was terribly like that, and big moustache and everything, was a closet homosexual and wasn't allowed to say so, of course. Lady Isabel Barnett, who turned out to be a kleptomaniac, and they kept keeping it out of the news. And these were the people that everybody, you looked up to. And it was all phony. I can't remember who else was on it. What's My Line? And hang on, there was some professor.
Apparently, Eamon Andrews also used to do it.
Love, yes. Well, hello. Well, Linda Dave, you thought you were going to have a quiet day, but you're not. Do you remember this voice? Mom, I'm back. Yes, you haven't seen him for 5 minutes. It's your son, Phil. What else have we got? You can't say. I'm shut.
The big red book.
With the big red book. Well, you can't say. Eamon Andrews started out as a boxing commentator.
Really? Good heavens.
He was the worst talk show. Well, no, I think Russell Hartley was pretty close up there. But Eamon Andrews always looked so incredibly had a huge career. Very handsome fellow with full of Irish charm. And he had his own chat show, one of the very early chat shows. And he always looked absolutely uncomfortable with the whole thing. Like he couldn't wait for it to.
Mind you, the television thing had failed him. With the way he carried a book, he could have very easily been a rent man.
A rent man?
Yeah, like
what's
when they used to go around and sort of collect the rent.
Oh, God, yeah, they used to have the...
They had the books, didn't they?
It's your life. Elizabeth, that says more about you. What would Freud make of this?
Life.
This is Elizabeth. The show was called "This Is Your Life."
Yes.
Elizabeth Green, never one to not make it. Not make it all.
That's it. There you go. I feel like it's actually this would be an appropriate name for a sitcom. This is my life.
This is my life, and you're sodding welcome to it. I think my first shows, my first kids shows. I think.
To be fair to Elizabeth,
Torchy,
Torchy,
the Battery Boy. Anybody remember that? Torchy, the Battery Boy, and Twizzle. And my mum.
Are you feeling lightheaded?
Torchy. I can't remember the rest.
Sorry, just thinking if you've got any more
no,
ideas.
Twizzle. Mum always used to still before she went round the bend without
Unless you just had a light bulb moment.
Sorry. Yeah, I got it. Mum would say, "Can you twizzle me down that tin, or can you twizzle me down that jar of,
Keep shining." Do what? Sorry.
Twizzle. Lynn, see, your mum remembers Twizzle.
Oh, yes, Twizzle.
It was a weird concept, Twizzle. It was this kind of toy that could make up your own gags. Could extend steady its arms and legs and just don't even go there. That was all it could extend. Chantel, stop it now. I'm looking at her. I thought she was on a plane. I'm going around the bend. Enough of this. It's time to
it extends, so it's like a sort of like an early version of Stretch Armstrong then,
kind of. Yeah kind of
because
like
Stretch Armstrong obviously was sort of made of like an elasticated, which actually it wasn't as indestructible as it made out, because I once broke a Stretch Armstrong, and Stretch Armstrongs
were
very
lined,
strong.
You're very
strong. Stretch Arms. No, I used scissors. Stretch Armstrongs were actually full of what could only be described as flour. It's very strange, because when it bursts, it just sort of bangs everywhere. And I mean, I've got to be honest. Initially, I sort of looked a little bit like I was ready for. Well, I looked like I was ready for baking, to be honest. But
you were ready for Alison Hammond to come on and just start laughing in that peculiar way, and that's kind of it.
First record was Conway Twitty.
Conway Twitty, but it's only make believe.
Your hair's a bit like Conway Twitty, isn't it?
Why?
No, because he had like quite a good quiff going on, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, every part of me hurts, even my hair. So shut up about it.
Your hair's good. What do you mean?
Do you think it's? I don't know.
Please, who am I to judge hair? But anyway,
yeah, but at least your head won't catch fire now.
This is very true, actually.
This is a conversation Phil and I would have regularly, especially if we were having a cigar.
Oh, it was terrible. Honestly, I had to sort of light the cigar well away from me, just in case. Otherwise, I'd start doing my impression of Hades.
But anyway. Start doing his impression of a Pink Floyd cover. Whoopah, oh yeah, walking back to happiness. Don't let me be a teenager in love. Helen Shapiro. Of course I remember. I met Helen Shapiro. I was very excited.
I would miss you more each day, walking back to happiness.
Yeah. Said goodbye to loneliness. She was a huge hit when she was 14 years old. Here's a Helen Shapiro fact I bet you didn't know. When she went on tour...
Hang on, you've got to give this the proper introduction. Now it's time for today's Helen Shapiro fact.
That's it. Helen Shapiro. Helen Shapiro fact. When she went on tour at the height of her fame,
you could call it
who the support. No, you idiot. Guess who the support act was? The Beatles. She got bigger billing than the Beatles on tour.
Crumbs.
Helen Shapiro. That's true.
There you go.
Absolutely true. No, I don't know what it is. It's just it's an ornament. It's not a clock. No. So this is my clock. Here's my clock. See?
Well, look at that.
That's a clock.
That's lovely.
That's what it's really. Yeah, it's Louis the 14th Ormolu.
You nicked that from the set of TVAM or something.
I did. Well, it was actually given to me by Richard Madeley. It wasn't. I've never met him. Okay, you know her. You love her. She is the pulchritudinous thinker, the cognoscenti of all that is media. She is the beady-eyed helicopter view of television and film. She is the doyenne of the fourth floor at BAFTA, where she is often found regaling with her countless admirers who line the corridor, waiting for a moment to sit at her table. Ladies and gentlemen, Chantel Rickards.
Such rubbish.
True. You know.
I didn't think the show was that bad. What are you talking about?
A little bit of a critic. Everyone's a critic these days.
Gosh, come on. Doing our best.
I thought you were at 35,000
you're used to working with the A elite.
Yeah, a bit rude.
We're trying.
We're doing our best. Look, we're the best in our price range.
Yeah, that's really cheap.
Very well, cheap. We have to pay to be here, and it's our show.
It's a nice round sum, believe me.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very nice. Square root of the square root of Sodal. I thought you were at 35,000 feet enjoying a No, I've got.
I thought it was on the 21st or something.
Oh, I can't follow
the
this.
email I sent you, the clue was in the headline, which said
I hate
Friday
you.
the 21st
Get
of
stuffed.
June.
Yours sincerely, C. Rickards. That's what I read.
No, you didn't read the headline.
I didn't know.
Friday the 21st of June.
I read the headline, Chantal.
I read the headline, Chantal.
Good. I'm glad you did.
I've moved in to look after my mum. I'm so fantastic.
I'm not going to lie. I am pretty amazing.
Yeah, I know. Well, Linda will agree.
Aww.
I'm still a bit shocked, Ray just buggering off into the wild blue London and saying, well, Linda, you've been ill for weeks and weeks. I'm
to
off.
be fair, you got to hand it. The problem was he'd already lost enough money because my mother decided to drop out the holiday, and I don't think he wants to lose any more.
that was it. Oh,
I know that will make her feel guilty.
You're not going to be invited round for supper tonight.
I guess
I'm already here.
He's already there. He's there. He's moved in to look after his mum. I think that's great. I would give anything to look after my mum, but sadly she's dead, so it's not going to happen. My mother loved Alma Cogan, talking of the beat. Alma Cogan.
You,
absolutely.
me, and us, we are my favorite
people. It all goes together like peaches. Don't pretend. We all know you're 32.
A bell to the church and a steeple.
But Phil knows this reference, and I've heard of Alma Cogan, but I couldn't have told you who Alma Cogan was or any. No,
and you must never do a tango with an Eskimo.
Yeah, Dreamboat. She was huge, Alma Cogan, and died very young of cancer. Great. The Beatles adored her. She had an affair with John Lennon. Unbelievably, he was crazy about her. Oh yeah. Very attractive. And the thing about Alma Cogan, it was the days when there was only 2 television channels, so we'd sit there, and my mum would watch because Alma Cogan always wore the most fabulous outfits. I don't mean like Lady Gaga. I mean they were stylish. They were beautiful gowns and dresses, and everyone would always tune in to see what outfit the lovely Alma Cogan. Of course, in my head growing up, she looked about 60 years old. She wasn't. She was probably then in her heyday, in her early 30s, but, everybody looked a hell of a lot.
Oh, I'm going to look her up later.
Alma Cogan, very popular, gave the most wonderful parties, apparently, in the Beatles.
Oh, my. She was young when she died.
She was,
wow.
What was she, early 40s?
No, 34.
God.
That's horrible.
My God. She was 34 when she died.
Yeah, that's sad.
Wow.
She had a very successful career.
Oh my goodness
because she had a lovely
so apparently
voice.
she had stomach cancer. Oi.
She was known as the girl with the giggle in her voice. That was how they sold
I like that.
Yeah, the girl with the giggle.
Just a cotton picking second.
Go on.
Alma Cogan is buried in Bushy.
Yeah, well, she would be. Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't found her.
It could have been Cheshunt. It could have been
but it's Bushy.
Essex or wherever it is, but she's in Bushy. Yeah,
we're
practically neighbours. That's exciting.
We could be neighbours.
Yeah.
I see. It's weird because near where my wife is Billy Fury. Go figure. And the most immaculately kept grave. You see, I don't find it spooky or horrible. I think it's a beautiful thing. And
well,
Billy
it's practically
Fury,
halfway to paradise.
Precisely. And Billy Fury's grave is immaculate. Always fresh flowers, What was his name? Ronald Wycherley, I think his real name was. But it has both the names on the. Okay. Beautifully done. And I find it very reassuring. It hasn't just disappeared. It's a nice thing. So, Mrs. I'm not on holiday.
He's really cross with you for not being away. I don't understand.
Hey, what?
I'd really be delighted you're here, personally.
Yeah. Listen, you posted a groovy picture, a rose between 2 thorns. Absolutely right, Dave Slee. Here's your mother.
What? Oh, for goodness sake. Fine, I'll sit here stum.
I'm not saying anything until I'm invited to.
Chantal, please tell Linda Dave, who seems to be out of hospital suddenly. Had a personality transplant. I liked her last time I saw her. What have you been watching recently?
Well, I wanted to know whether you boys had watched the Stormy documentary because if you haven't, you should. And I know that you're probably completely fed up with stories about Donald Trump and his murky background and porn stars and goodness knows what. But actually, Channel 5 have acquired a documentary that was made in the United States, and it's rather good. She is not what you expect, and that's what's interesting about it. She's bright, she's sassy, she's together.
Yeah, really bright, took money and then broke a gagging order.
Well, no, but there's bright and bright. There are all sorts of reasons you've got to watch the documentary film. Go into it with an open mind, because actually, I just think once I'd watched it, and I had enjoyed spending the time with her, because most of it comes through her own interview that she gives throughout this 2-hour documentary. And it's actually well made. She's coherent. She has an argument for everything, which you would expect. But she has been the most sort of hunted of animals over the last, God knows how many years it is now.
Hang on, mother's chiming in again.
God, she's busy.
We have OMG, which for the kids stands for oh my God. If I had £1 for every F word, I would be a millionaire.
Indeed. Yes, it's not for the faint-hearted, but you do learn quite a lot. You learn a lot about the case, which I hadn't quite realised there was as much to need to know about this
Very
case.
naughty, Graham.
And you learn a lot about her background, which was sad. She had a sad childhood. She was abused at the age of 9. Her father left home. I can't remember. I left home or died when she was only 3 or 4. I mean, she had a pretty ghastly upbringing. And then somehow managed to overcome all of this, got herself educated, was just about to go to university to actually study veterinary science. Originally, she thought about doing medicine, but then she got a place to do veterinary science. And then, in fact, a girlfriend said, why don't you come and do some work at this nightclub, dancing at this nightclub? So she hasn't been she hasn't been a prostitute in her career, but she went from dancing in a club to working on porn movies and became the second highest paid director of porn films in America.
Director?
Yeah, she was an accomplished woman in her trade.
That goes there. That's kind of it.
It's not my trade. It's not your trade.
No.
But actually, she really...
To anyone who said it was a hard job.
Hey, stop. Stop. There's a lady present.
Well, stop it.
I'm just saying.
Your mother's listening.
Your mother is listening. There'll be ructions.
Look, you guys are the ones with the smutty minds. I'm saying it's a tough industry.
Chantel, any second, a little hand's going to appear and it's going to be like, Philip. And it's going to be like this. I will laugh. I will laugh so bad.
Quite right. Anyway, all I'm saying is to leave your prejudices outside your sitting room. Go into your sitting room and sit down and watch this documentary, because it's very surprising and you learn a heck of a lot. The first thing I learned, which I thought was fascinating, is she's a Republican, because somehow I always imagined she was a secret Democrat. And
no, I never thought it was.
Yeah, well, she's
the
not.
only reason I couldn't imagine she would be is why would she have let things get that full on with Donald Trump if she was a Democrat?
Well, no, but at the time when she met him, she thought that she was going to meet the man who could get her on Celebrity Apprentice. And he had told her that he was allowed to put one person a year into each series, and he had the veto over it. Nobody was allowed to change his decisions. So if he liked her, he could put her on Celebrity Apprentice. And clearly, you know, she enjoyed having relationships with people, but not for money. And so she had an evening with Donald Trump. And at that time, she thought it might lead to something on Celebrity Apprentice, not to a court case, you know, 10, 15 years later, that would become one of the most famous court cases in American history. Anyway, I think you should...
And lead to the Civil War.
Well, very possibly. Where it's going to lead to is anybody's guess.
That's where it's going to lead.
I know. And it's a sort of sorry indictment as to what America is all about and where they're up to in their maturation process, which is not very far along the line as far as I'm concerned. But it's a decent documentary. It's called Stormy. I think it's just under 2 hours and it's on Channel 5.
What's her real name? Presumably it's not Stormy. Although there is Storm
weather.
Huntley, doesn't she do the weather? Her real name is Storm Huntley.
Yeah, Storm Huntley hosts a show on Channel 5.
That's her real name, I think. Storm Huntley. How cool is that?
She's actually quite nice, you know.
Do you know, I can't remember what her real name is. I mean, I've read it about 6 times.
Doreen?
No, not Doreen.
Doris.
Not Alma.
Maureen.
Oh, dear. Could you imagine?
Glenda.
It doesn't matter.
Myrtle.
Glenda.
Watch the documentary.
Mavis Daniels. Gladys.
Are you having a nice time?
Right. Okay, I'm going to give you something.
This is from Mr. Pack, and I have to agree with him, which is rare for me. He says this: I blitzed through the first 2 episodes, first 2 seasons of Only Murders in the Building. Me too. Now on the 3rd, I'm just about to start season 3. Absolutely, to the party, adore it. That's what I'm going to say. Right.
Good. We like that. Excellent. Well done. It's a good program and it's fun. And I'm glad that there are more series to come. It's a really good, well-crafted series. Only Murders in the Building.
Beautiful, fabulous series.
Yeah.
Right. What next?
So it's a good documentary on the BBC this week. Came out, can't remember which day this week it was, but it's brand new on our screens. It's a 1-hour documentary only. The title actually gives it away. They could have obscured the title somewhat, but the title is called The Wrong Man, 17 Years Behind Bars. But...
Oops.
Well, you can't win them all, I suppose.
Stop it.
Can't win them all. I would have at least put a question mark somewhere, like The Wrong Man question mark. And then 17 Years Behind Bars, because I didn't know the story and I wanted to know what happened at the end.
Right.
I think it would have been more compelling had I not known that clearly from the title alone, the suggestion is that the guy was wrongly imprisoned, and indeed he was wrongly imprisoned. We lost him.
I had to get rid of him. He was annoying me. I just something about him that's just infuriating. Oh God, it's back.
And all is back, isn't it?
What are you doing now? Oh, that's good.
We're in the TV now.
Oh man, I'm loving that. That's really good.
It's like the original.
Here.
The original transmission of Channel 5 looked a bit like that.
Yes.
To
be honest with you, my level of interest in Channel 5 was a bit like that as well. So
that's very clever, Philip. I don't know how you've done that.
No, very good.
Rather good. That's rather good. Although it's making my eyes go mad.
Hello, Mum. I'm on the telly. Anyway.
Oh dear.
Oh,
anyway,
man.
This will stretch your brain.
Good.
Gotta find it first.
It's on the BBC. It's 1 hour on the BBC. You'll find it on the iPlayer. I think it was broadcast originally on BBC Two, but you will find it on the BBC iPlayer, and I'm sure it'll be there for at least a year because virtually everything that comes out on the BBC stays up for a year.
Except Father Brown. Can't find Father Brown anymore. Really?
Yeah, but Father Brown was an acquisition. It wasn't something that the BBC owns. So if it's something the BBC have made, then it'll stay there for a long time. If they've acquired it, they might acquire it for 3 months or 6 months or a year or 2 years. And then the license will revert to the whoever owns the copyright.
It's all, when you talk like that, it's almost like you're one of the most senior media figures in the country.
I'm not, as you know.
You are.
I just know how the system works, or certainly how it used to work. Anyway, The Wrong Man is good because actually it is an awful tale about the hopelessness, the possible corruption of the Greater Manchester Police.
Surely not.
Well, sadly, yes. And in fact, my first cousin worked for GMP for most of his career. And he'd be horrified if he knew I was talking about it today. But it is an indictment on just the awfulness of their policing. This guy went to prison for a DNA sample that supposedly was his, turned out not to be. And 2 actual witnesses, turns out that they were completely lacking in credibility. And both of them had been seen by the police on the days where they were saying they had seen this man or in town in Rochdale or somewhere in Lancashire. I mean, it's just, the whole thing is awful. And you get to the end of it, and I felt really angry when I got to the end of this 1 hour documentary. The guy
was selling it really well. I'm loving this. Great. What I really want to do is by the end of it feel really angry about something.
Yeah. It was
welcome to my world. So I go through life. It was a what? Stabbing.
But it was all circumstantial evidence, and actually the evidence was, and people were completely discredited. The evidence was discredited, as were the witnesses. The witnesses were people whose word should never, ever, ever have been taken, and the DNA turned out not to be his. I mean, it's a shocking.
And it took 17 years.
17 years.
And I bet no one even got their knuckles wrapped.
No, well, there should be a public inquiry because, frankly, it's dreadful. And the guy is still living on benefits. I mean, he's been out of jail now for 3 or 4 years, I think, and he's still living on benefits. This is awful. I mean, this is just
and he just didn't do it.
Yeah. No, he absolutely didn't do it.
Wow.
They know who did because they did. That was all resolved in this 1 hour program. But it's only an hour, and it's worth watching, if only to tell you how badly things can go wrong occasionally. And it's a nicely crafted documentary, and I felt really sorry for this bloke. And he's really struggling at the moment. And the legal team are fantastic. They're sort of straight out of central casting. And I thought, my God, if I would come back in my next life, I'd want to be one of these public defenders, you know, a terrific person. Who
you'd be good. You could be like you could be like one of the lead characters in Law and Order because you're glamorous.
Oh my goodness me! Could you imagine? You'd keep them in check, Chantal.
Dun, dun.
Or what?
That would be great. Graham Pack's making the point, and he's probably quite right. He's not being facetious for once. All the coppers would have retired on their full pension. Yep, that's yep. And there's apparently, following up on your comments, Shantas, there's a whole series on Netflix about wrongly imprisoned people, which is absolutely riveting. Yeah, ghastly. Wow. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, my old colleague Cara Noble from the Capital Radio, the Christian.
Oh, she came up as a friend suggestion the other day. I wanted to add her, but I thought that'd be a bit weird because I've only met her once.
Have you? Oh, yeah, of course. You passed didn't cross, and she married, divorced now, but she married someone who'd been wrongly imprisoned for 27 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
27 years.
And she met him when he was in jail, I think.
It was very, we're not going to go down that particular road. It was very weird. Yeah. I do remember saying, Cugsy, what could possibly go wrong with this? Jesus. But she's a great, I'm very fond of her. I'm very fond of her. But anyway, that's all history. What are they called? They have over in America, it's called Project Innocence.
Yeah. Indeed.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right. Anything that's entertaining and won't leave Phil angry.
Travel's big at the moment. It's that time of the year. Everybody's thinking about going overseas, including me. Nick
thinking about it, but sadly, whether or not they can afford it this year is another matter altogether. But let's not
you had lots of holidays last year, I seem to remember.
I did. You're right. I probably should really start sort of paying off those holidays now. But
yeah, 6 years since I last went anywhere.
No.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, he's been in Stanmore all that time. It's outrageous.
It's that's my 6 years. Anyway, there we are. That's
mind you, to be fair, where you were living not so long ago, that was a little bit like having to travel every single time you went north of the border. Anyway.
Oh, that's nonsense. Just stop it. It's all marvelous. It's all London, and that's it. I'm talking about the fact that I've never been out of the UK.
That's amazing.
I haven't been anywhere. Doesn't matter. Anyway, right. Travel.
Where would you go?
Judith Chalmers.
No, but what I will tell you is that every bloke of your age, Russ, is now presenting a travel series on Channel 5.
But I'm not.
This week we've got a new one with Robson Green.
Oh, yeah,
we've got a new one with Nick Knowles. They've recently done Ben Fogle, Adrian Dunbar, Greg Wallace. Basically,
who was the last one? Greg what? Did you say Greg Wallace?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Bit of a thing on Channel 5.
Yeah,
to send blokes of your age around the world to just
45. Wow.
Yeah, find out how the world is put together. So
Maybe you could do a travel show as well. We'll call it Russing to the Airport or something.
Oh, could do. Yes.
Sorry, I thought I had a slight buzzing in my ear then.
Yeah.
I go, moving. Listen, we're in the presence of media royalty.
What? I'm coming up with an idea for a program here. This could be the birth of your next generation, next part of your
terrible
career.
idea.
No, I think it's a brilliant idea. We'll dream up. We'll go and have a cigar session, and we'll dream up a new travel series for Russ to get him
And don't forget, Chantal. Don't forget. Where's the Jeopardy?
No, you don't need Jeopardy in travel.
Oh, thank God! Don't.
It's the Jeopardy is that you take the flying eye.
Absolutely never ever again. Thank you for that wonderful.
Although there is a bit of Jeopardy in the new Nick Knowles adventure in because he goes down to the bottom of South America, and so they make him do a few blokey things like climbing up rocks and kayaking. And I'm thinking,
no, thank you. No,
Nick is actually more cerebral than that, and it's sort of waste. It's a waste to send him climbing up a mountain when actually he's much more of a thinker. And what he has to say is much more interesting than what they make him do. Having said that, if you like travelogues and you get the whole Channel 5 vibe, then there are loads there. The Robson Green one and the Nick Knowles one that both came out this week, one from the Amazon, from north of South America, and one from south of South America. So those are both out this week and worth watching. They're fairly short series, but somehow, it's just nice to see the sunshine and to see people.
Oh God, isn't it just? Isn't it just? Which is, of course, why Death in Paradise has always done so well as a series. They put it on in, when it's winter here and it's grey and it's pouring. Well, it's like summer here. It's the same thing. And you think, sunshine. It's really clever. It's so smart. Whoever thinks of these things, they have the mighty big brain.
Yeah.
I salute them for that. Great. Travelogues are nice. The one that seems to have garnered a lot of praise, and I caught little bits of it, and I thought it was utterly charming, is Ryland. I don't know what his second name is. Ryland with the teeth, and the lovely Robbie Rinder. And
yes. I have heard about this. I haven't seen it, but I've
really
heard about
lovely.
It's a weird pairing.
It is, and that's great.
Yeah, but exactly. I mean, I'm sure they will rub along very well together in a strange, mercurial way. But
it's just, I think what I find a bit strange about the pairing is let's try and sort of work out here at every step of the way what they've got in common. Well, I mean, speaking as someone who used to work with Rob Rinder, I happen to know he's about my height. He's a bit taller than me. So, you can't say that about Ryland. Ryland is extraordinarily tall.
He's very tall.
So it's not from that perspective they thought they'd look good together on camera. One's got jet black hair, one's got blonde hair. One's a lawyer, one's a failed X Factor contestant. One is I don't understand where the pairing came from.
I'll tell you what it is.
Talk about opposites attract.
I tell you why it works. And the interesting thing is that Ryland he didn't put out a statement, but he said, no, we're not a couple now. We're just friends. Because they're both gay.
That's nice.
And they're not. He said, no, we're just really good. We became good friends. It is a very odd pairing. And had I seen that on a piece of paper, because I'm a moron, I would have thought, I don't think so. But they became such good buddies. And they came at each piece of art or each piece of architecture or each event from very different cerebral perspectives. But they both got so much out of it. And the exchanges between them were delightful.
Really?
It was really a lovely, lovely series. And not only did you see their friendship and their reactions, which was marvelous, and why not, but you also got to learn a lot about art and saw some marvelous paintings, and it was lovely. It was
okay.
Lovely.
All right, well, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, it's worth it.
I mean,
I agree with this. Graham says, right, I quite like cruising with Jay McDonald.
That won a BAFTA.
It's a really good, it's a really good show, actually. I like it. Jay McDonald's terrific.
Never seen one episode.
I've never seen it. I should have seen it, but I haven't.
There's nothing against Jay McDonald, who I'm sure is charming. I've just never seen it.
Does she sing in it?
I've never seen her sing in it. I know that she does do singing, doesn't she? But
well, that's her shtick, isn't it?
She was a singer on Paul Cruise. Yeah.
Okay.
She was like Hillary O'Neill without the comedy.
Yeah.
That's basically
Okay.
I guess so, yeah.
She's like Jessica Martin without the impressions. I mean, you can go on. She seems very nice, and everyone who's ever met has always said, "Oh, she's really nice." So
She really is lovely.
Good for her. Good for her. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Nice that
Right.
people get a break. Why shouldn't they? Okay. What else?
Well, just before you delve into what elsery, I'm afraid that the time is rapidly approaching 1 o'clock, which means I need to jump off, I'm afraid. So terribly sorry. But at the same time, it's a pleasure to see you both. And I will leave you two to carry on with the box extra time.
The box set. Please wish your mother, you won't get this on Radio 4. Please wish your mother a full and speedy
And
recovery.
we'd like to take this moment to wish your mother a very healthy and speedy recovery. Thank you very much indeed for the time. This is the Home Light Program signing off.
He'll be back 50 times. You know he will.
Dear.
I
won't.
Stay away.
No, can't stay away. And I was going to tell him how to find the money to pay for his next holiday.
No, too late. He's gone. No, it's so sad he's gone. What a shame. Never mind. Bye then. Anyway, so there he goes. He is a scallywag and no mistake. A rapscallion of the first order, a ne'er-do-well. Anyway, right. We've got time for a little. We've got time a little bit more.
Well, had he still been on, I would have told him to watch a new documentary on Netflix called How to Rob a Bank.
Oh my God, yes.
It's a documentary. It's based in Seattle in 1994, 95, something like that. And there's a guy out there who's like a sort of hippie bank robber. He's a sort of a Robin Hood hippie. He's built a house in the trees. He's running this sort of vague hippie commune. He's obviously highly bright. Starts like you hear about his former life where he starts out, he becomes a medical student, but goes to a few classes, learns how to make crystal meth in his chemistry classes, and decides that that's what he's going to do. So ends up making crystal meth. Suddenly then is sitting sort of on the wrong side of the law, but he doesn't think he's doing anybody any harm. And he's only really making crystal meth for his friends. And he's hanging out in his tree house, and he wonders that there's so much archive footage of him hanging out in his tree house, just wanders around the forest with no clothes on. I mean, he's a total Fruit Loop. He's a hippie dude.
People in Essex were shocked.
Yeah,
anyway,
and wants to perpetuate this lovely life that he's built up of no responsibility, just being a bit of a cool dude. And he thinks the easiest way to do that is to go and start robbing banks. So in Seattle in 94, every business is moving to Seattle. There's Starbucks, there's Boeing, everybody's there. There are banks on every street corner. He thinks, okay, I'm going to go and start robbing banks. He gets a reputation under the name of Hollywood because he always wears a fabulous disguise. I mean, he looks crazy. And they've got lots of bank footage of him going in and robbing banks. And then basically the story is about the chase. So there you interview the police officers and the FBI and his friends, the people who were his co-robbers, are also interviewed. And I'm not going to spoil it, but actually it's a sort of crazy story of a guy who never shot at anybody. There was physical violence at the last bank robbery, but prior to that, there was no physical violence at all. I mean, he was actually quite a gentle soul who clearly had a completely different take on life to you and I. But, Phil has got nothing better to do. He could just go and rob a bank this weekend and get some money for a new holiday.
He could do. And then I'd have to watch endless videos of him gurning at the camera and eating fabulous food. So let's not suggest he watches it. I've got a question for you before I have to let you go because you're always very busy. You, I think, saw The Holdovers, the film The Holdovers?
I did, yes.
I caught it on Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything. What did you think? Because it was much fated.
Yes, a sweet, gentle Christmas movie with some very nice performances, a nicely written script, but I had no idea it was going to do as well as it did in awards season. Because to me, it was a rather quiet, gentle film.
Yeah, this is what it is.
It was nicely put together, and I really enjoyed it when I watched it. But the performances, I think, were really good. The young man, particularly, whose name I can't remember.
Neither can I. But
Yeah.
it was good. But I came away thinking, well, I liked it. It was a nice, charming little film. But what was all the fuss about? I mean,
Yeah, well,
okay.
in a way,
I liked it.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people said that. But there's a lot of love in the room for Paul Giamatti. So
I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. Oh, hang on. Is that the same? Oh, my God. It's the same woman. The female detective on Only Murders in the Building, who is hilarious. Is that? Oh, it's the same. I love her.
Darvine, she's called.
Darvine. Yes. I didn't put A and B together. What a thicko I am. She's hilarious as the detective in Only Murders. Hilarious.
And she's brilliant as the cook.
She's lovely. You know what? The one thing that staggered me, and I'd forgotten, it was set in 1970, wasn't it? Everyone's smoking endlessly. Everyone's chain smoking everywhere. They're cooking. She's smoking. They're wherever they are. It was lovely. Yeah. Chantal, thank you so much for finding the time to join us. I hugely appreciate it. You know that. Thank you for everything. And now I will be plagued by everyone saying, what did she say? What did you say? Did you write it down? I get that every day. Bless you. Thank you. We will see you soon. Chantal Rickards, OBE. And that, it's as near as I'm going to get to being on TV. And that is it for another week. Thank you so much for joining us. God willing, I will be back on Monday with Neil Long. And maybe guess, do you know what? I don't know. Can't remember. Have a wonderful... Jeez. I thought I'd get through it. No. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Midday Show. Love your company. And thank you for all the lovely comments again about the show. It's really sweet of you. Till we meet again, stay out of trouble. Bye, everybody.